Hi, and welcome to Section 2, Interactive Web Applications. In this section, we show how to create interactive web applications with Shiny, as well as dynamic reports with R Markdown. There are 3 videos in this section. In the first video, Shiny, we create an interactive web app and look at some examples of what can be done. Next, in R Markdown, we begin with traditional reports, producing forecasts using time series, before moving to R Markdown, which integrates the code with the report produced, for greater transparency. Finally, in interactive R Markdown, we produce dynamic reports using R with Shiny documents with interactive components. Here, we're at the first video of this section. In this video, we'll run a Shiny app, look below the hood to see how it works, as well as look at some examples to see the kind of things that can be done and where we can find more. Shiny makes it incredibly easy to build interactive web applications with R. Extensive pre-built widgets make it possible to build beautiful, responsive, and powerful applications with minimal effort, which is from help, which we can get by going !Shiny. We need 2 files for Shiny, UI.r and server.r, one for the user interface and the other for the server. Note that we have a Run App button as opposed to the usual Run on the code window. We'll start by running the app and then have a look under the hood to see what we did. This is a web app, so we can view it from our browser. So here, if I type in something, it appears here. If I select something, it also appears here. So if I go Stocks, that changes to Stocks. Likewise here, I can pick Global Weather, and this changes to Global Weather. So we have 2 parts. One where I can select things, interact with the user interface, and the right-hand side, which responds to what I did on the left. So that's the web app. Now I want to look at what I did and how it works. UI.r uses the Shiny package. We set the UI to Fluid Page and give it a title, and then use various widgets within sidebar layout. So we have text input, radio buttons, and select input. Next we use main panel with various text output commands. We'll come back to this later. First we'll look at server.r. Server.r also uses Shiny and calls Shiny server. It takes input and produces output. The changes the user makes go into the input variable. Remember, we call them name, datas, and data drop. So looking back at UI.r, we have 3 widgets, and they're called name, datas, and data drop. So we take the input from those widgets and use render text to put them in output. So the widget called name gets put into my name, and these are the variables we use in main panel. So server.r is taking the input from the widgets and putting them in my name, my datas, and my drop. Going back to UI.r, main panel uses my name, my datas, and my drop. So we can see when we've messed around with the widgets, typing into text input, selecting stock or global weather from radio buttons, or from select input, those settings are put into names, datas, or data drop. That's read by server.r, which renders those values into output. So maximizing this, we can see we've got a title called My Shiny App, and we can see in UI.r that we have that title equals My Shiny App. Then we have a sidebar layout where we have 3 widgets. First, some text input, then a radio button, and then select input. So we have name, that's our text input, these are our radio buttons, and this is our select input. Here we have a label data, so we can see the sidebar panel is called data. Our text input is called name. So the second variable is the name. For radio button and select input, we have select dataset. So we have select dataset. So again, when we change here, when we type in some text into the text input, that gets sent to server.r, which then sends it back with my name. The text input goes into my name, and my panel uses text output my name. So that lets us produce an interactive web app easily. We also have some examples. So if you go run_example.r, I'll first stop the app and now use run example. So run example 05_sliders, this showcases various slide bars that are available. Remember, we use text input, radio buttons, and select input. This shows the various options that are available. So we can select decimal values, integers, we can select a range, and do various other things. We can see here that this is responding to what we do here. So integer was set at 535. I'll set it to 604. So that sets integer here to 604. In pretty much the same style as what we did. These examples are excellent because not only do we have the app, we also have the code. So if you just go down, we can see what they did. So this is server.r, this is UI.r. We have multiple examples. So if I run 07_widgets, we have drop-down menus. I can make my selection and then just click Update View. Then, depending on what dataset we chose, we get different output below. And of course, we have the code. So we can see what they did exactly. And you can guess, if we have 05 sliders, 07 widgets, there are a whole range of examples included. So if you just go run example, we can see what they are. And not only that, looking at the help, we can see that there is also a Shiny tutorial by RStudio. So shiny.rstudio.com/tutorial. And that explains the framework in depth, walks you through building a simple application, and includes extensive annotated notes. In this video, we saw we can produce interactive web apps using Shiny, with a wide range of widgets to customize our UI.